Just want to greet my guest at the studio today. Hi, David.
Hiya, how you doing?
Good. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm very good, thank you.
Well, I would think so after winning a global award.
Definitely. Yeah, over the moon.
I just want to say I'm in an especially good mood today because David has brought samples of his gingerbread cupcake and a Victoria sponge cupcake. So we're very privileged to be in the studio today.
It's always the best way to win people over, really. Everyone
Exactly. Now, our favorite guest so far today. So, so tell us how you got into this. How'd you get into cake baking and doing the Cake Architect?
So I always loved baking as a kid. I was baking with my mum. And then I went to train as an architect. So I went to Brighton Uni and to the degree in architecture, and by the second year I knew it wasn't for me. I hated it, but my family, my dad's an architect, my mum's a landscape architect, stepdad's a civil engineer, so it was kind of, you have
Mandatory.
to finish this. You have to finish this. And why do you want to go and make cake? I'd pretty much decided that I wanted to go make cake, and everybody kind of thought that's not a real job. And so when I finished my 3 years and got my bachelor's degree, and while I was there, I was making and selling cakes to raise money for the degree show for our university, and then I kind of got named the Cake Architect by some of my friends, and we put it up on the posters and things. So when I came out of university, I went and I did a course with a cake company, and then they offered me a job at the end of it. So I worked for them for about 6 months. But when you do something like cake and you do something really creative, especially when you're used to kind of drawing and designing, it's very difficult to work for someone else. And so I decided that I wanted to do it myself. I didn't want to be kind of like told, here's this cake, make it. I wanted to talk to people. I wanted to know what they wanted in their cake and design everything and go all the way through from meeting someone to designing their perfect cake to making it and seeing the whole process. So in November 2017, I opened up the Cake Architect shop in Bradford-on-Avon. So it'll be our 4th birthday next week.
Oh, exciting.
And so since then, I've been full-time cake maker. I've got 3 members of staff. I've got my best friend from school, Alex. I've got Sophie, who does admin for me a couple of days a week. And my mum is my newest employee. She's given up the landscape architecture job. So after I had to finish my architecture degree, she's actually left that career too, and she's pretty much full-time now. She's trainee cake decorator, so it's kind of gone full circle. I've gone from baking with her in the kitchen to being her boss and telling her how to do things.
Ooh, the second part of our show is how to boss your mom around.
That's a good part of the show. If you can get your mum to do the washing up, it's great.
Oh, satisfying in itself. But the Cake Architect itself, you specialize in wedding cakes?
So we do wedding cakes, birthday cakes, corporate cakes.
Any cakes.
Any
Great.
cake. We supply a couple of cafes. Our shop sells cupcakes and teas and coffees to take away day to day. But we mostly do wedding and celebration cakes. So we'll do about 80 wedding cakes a year and 300 celebration cakes.
Yes.
So celebration cakes ranging from small drip cakes to feed 5 or 6 people to massive sculpted structural birthday cakes for ridiculous birthday parties, and if you want to go all out and really show off with your cake. And then wedding cakes from intimate ceremonies, especially during lockdown when weddings were limited to 15 people might have a small single tier cake, or now they might be back to having a 5 or 6 tier wedding cake that's taller than they are.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely good. And it's all about when it was interesting when we were talking outside, you know, how you design cakes. You don't just take a template off Instagram or something and design it. What do you do, especially for couples who want their wedding cakes to be a bit special?
Yeah. So a wedding cake should be personal. It should be unique. Quite frankly, it's your wedding day, so why would you have the same as anybody else?
Yeah.
And so when our couples come to us, they'll come in and they'll sit down with me. Normally, you'd try some cake and have a tea and coffee. When there are no COVID rules at the moment, they're taking the cake away with them. But hopefully that'll be back again soon. So I'll sit down and try some cake, and it's a really relaxed setting. And I'll chat to them about their wedding plans and Sometimes I'll ask them how they met or a bit about their story. Some people come to me and they've seen loads of pictures and they've got way too many ideas. And some people honestly do not have a clue. You don't buy a wedding cake every day. So it's kind of my
Hopefully
job to
not.
either rein people in and make it work, or to come up with something that the idea is you kind of take what's in people's heads without them really knowing. And then I draw it out there and then and sketch everything up for them and show them. And 9 times out of 10, everyone's like, how did you do that? That's exactly what was in my brain. And then I'll go away and I'll sketch it all up for them properly and colour it all in so it all looks really pretty and send it over to them. And after they've tried the cake, we work out which tier there is going to be which flavours. And then I take it all the way through to setting it up at the venue. So, and in the kind of months up before the wedding, they've got loads and loads of planning to do themselves, so we'll sort out everything behind the scenes and get in touch with their venue and arrange all the delivery and their setup. And then that week before the wedding is crazy as far as we go, because it's cake, it's got to be fresh, so we have to bake everything, decorate everything, and then go and take it and set it all up. And then we get to the behind the scenes when no one's at the wedding venue, just us and the wedding planners. And so I'll set everything up and the couple can then just turn up and get married and eat cake. Exactly.
That's right. I want to get back after some commercials and songs, just a little talk to you about, the uniqueness that you bring into your cakes. But also later on in our show, I'd like to talk to you about your advice for business people who want to win awards, because I think it's nice to be able to set your business apart like that.
Awesome.
That would be great. Well, we'll be back with David after this. I just have to say that your cakes were great. I mean, I had the gingerbread muffin. I love the density of it, the flavor of it, and I'm really picky on things being too sweet. Because I don't like things that are too sweet. It's well balanced, and the buttercream was amazing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We love to play with the flavour, and had to bring gingerbread one now. It's autumn,
of course.
So we've got to make it seasonal. We've got to make it all fit, and it's probably a good thing if you don't like things that are overly sweet, because the gingerbread one's quite a kind of it's quite a rich flavour. It's less sweet. It's more kind of it's more of a full flavour. So
the spices and everything just come out. What's the secret of making good cake?
For making it taste good.
Well, good, look good, taste good. But I think because, as we were saying, cake is a luxury item. Yeah. You can have something that tastes nice, but if it doesn't look nice,
so it's practice. It is time. So baking. Alex, he's my baker. I taught him how to bake, and now he gets angry if I try to do any baking. But when we first started out, we'd spend entire days practicing flavors, and we'd make hundreds and hundreds of cupcakes across so many different flavors, and we'd have to eat them. It's such a hard job, I know.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm sitting looking at David, and I don't know how he's in the cake industry. He's slim as anything, and I'm just like, I think he just passes it on to his pets or something like that. Maybe.
One day it is catching up with me, but for now we're all right. But no, we'd eat loads of cake and try lots of cake, and the best ones when we've got a range of cocktail flavors. And obviously you can't make cocktail flavors without having the cocktails, but you have to do those at the end of the day, because you can't start off by drinking mojitos and eating mojito cakes.
You would make mojito cakes.
We make mojito cakes and
so
tequila
cool.
sunrise and loads of really, really good fun flavors. And so the flavor, it's at the end of the day, it's a cake. It's got to be eaten, so it's got to taste good. And then for the way it looks, it's hours and hours and hours and hours of practice, and it's making a rose and then looking at a real rose and pulling the petals off and then trying to make a rose out of sugar again, and just going for it and having the confidence to try it and getting it wrong and then doing it again until it's right. And then once you've got it right, then you've got to learn how to do it quicker and do it bigger and do it however you need to. And if you're sculpting something, you kind of, the first time you ever sculpt something, it looks awful, and then you look at what you're trying to make again and you try it again, and it's a real skill that you have to learn, but also not everybody kind of can see in 3D, which is really, so that's one of the things we specialize in, is making sculpted cakes, which
is that like the unicorn cake that you showed me?
We've made a unicorn cake. I've done a full-size baby lamb. We've done cars and everything, and they're quite difficult if you're looking at, because you're used to looking at a photo, so you always kind of see things
2D.
2D. So you've got to kind of picture it, and you've got to picture where the shadows are and where everything is, so that you can kind of get it looking real, which is actually really difficult. And I mean, the first sculpted cake, one day I'll probably post it on my Facebook, but I'm not brave enough yet. The first time I made a unicorn cake, it was for my wife's birthday, and she loved it. It was great, but this was before I was a professional cake maker, and it shows.
What animal did it actually look like?
I mean, you could tell it was a unicorn, but horses have eyes on the side of their face,
right,
whereas this had eyes on the front, which just looks, and it's things like that. And then the next time I made a unicorn cake, I won a silver award at an international competition. So.
Well done. So do you think it's talent, or do you think it's practice, or what's the combination? Because just beyond the cake industry, everybody has to go through practice to get good at their skill.
Definitely.
And to do that, it takes resilience and takes perseverance. And some people just say, I'm just not good at it, so maybe it's not my thing, and then they leave it. But another argument could be, well, if you had stuck with it, you probably could do it. When do you know to keep at it?
I think it's a bit of both. I think you can kind of, you see people that you're a natural at something.
Yeah.
I don't think you're necessarily naturally good at something, but you're passionate about it. And if you really, really love something, you can tell. So when I meet other people that say, I want to make cake, or if people come for a job interview, and you can kind of tell the people that naturally, maybe not naturally have kind of that spark in cake decorating, but think in a certain creative way, and are passionate about making cake, and are passionate about trying something new and being creative. And I think you don't have to be a cake maker to be good at cake. You could be an artist, you could be a sculptor, and you could specialize in something. There are cake makers that just make cakes that taste really good, and they don't care what they look like, because it's just on the flavor, and they might be supplying cafes and on a wholesale market or something like that. And there are cake makers that only care about what it looks like, and they buy in their cake and decorate it because they don't want to touch the baking side of it. But if you're passionate about something, then you're gonna have that drive to learn, and you're gonna have that drive to put yourself through all of the hours and the blood, sweat and tears that it comes with whatever you're doing, whether it's cake, whether you're in a completely different business at all. But it's a balance of the both. Yeah, you're going to get better if you practice lots and lots of time. But if you don't really care about it deep down, you're never going to reach that kind of level that you might want to.
What do you say to yourself or tell yourself when you fail miserably, or the thing doesn't look like what you do? And it could be about a cake, could be about your business. What goes through your mind?
So I'm pretty good under pressure. I'm quite good when things go wrong.
Yeah.
And someone's about to panic, I go very quiet, and everybody in the shop will know that, okay, just leave them to it. So if something falls off a cake, or something goes wrong, or I've broken something and you've got to start again, I go very quiet and I just fix it, and I focus on it. And it's just kind of like a switch goes in my brain, and it's, okay, this is what we need to do, this, and this. And that's when I get quite bossy, and I'm like, you need to give me this, and you need to give me this. And it's like that bit when you're watching telly and the surgeons are like, scalpel, and you're going like that, and you're like,
don't even ask why.
Yeah, it's
just give it to me.
I've got to fix it. And then it's straight back to singing and dancing and jumping around all the kitchen, and nothing, as if nothing had happened.
Yeah.
But you've got to be, that's the thing with cake, it's a high pressure item because you have to make it fresh. So if a wedding is on a Saturday, then they're not going to delay that. You can't be late. The cake has to be there on that Saturday, and if something goes wrong on Friday, you're working till 3 a.m. to fix it.
Yeah. And if it's a summer day, and things will melt and things will fall down just because of the weather.
The most stressful wedding, I delivered a 4-tier cake to the Pavilion Gardens in Bath, and it was the hottest day of the year 3 years ago. They were in a marquee. Cakes in marquees are not really the greatest thing. But it was 4-tier cake, all wrapped in white chocolate with fresh berries. And I just set it up, and I left it. And the entire day, I was checking the pavilion
Temperature.
their Instagram feed to see if there are any pictures of the cake. And I saw a picture in the evening of them cutting the cake, and it hadn't melted.
Oh.
And then I just was like, okay, it's bedtime.
Yeah, no. I think that must have been the exact year where I was in a wedding in Harrogate and the cake fell down.
Yeah.
It was hot, and we were we were close to the window. The cake was put close to the window for I don't know why.
No.
But yeah.
No, that's the first thing you do when you get into a wedding venue is shake the table. Make sure
Oh,
the table's
right.
not going to collapse. And the second thing you do is you make sure it's nowhere near a window.
I want to get back to talk about your competition, what it gives you, how it trains you. We'll be back with David after this.
Made locally in Bath. This is Radio Bath.
We're back with Brave Business Conversation, and we're still with David Waldren, founder of The Cake Architect. So you entered this competition. Tell us what it was like, because there's a lot of business owners, not just in your industry, who want to win awards. First of all, I want to know, why do you want to win an awards? Why is that important? I know it's a dumb question, but that's my job.
That's all right.
Okay, there we go.
So winning awards isn't necessarily about winning the awards. I mean, people don't really know what Cake International is unless they're in the cake industry. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's extreme bragging rights to other cake makers, but our customers and yourself and other people might not necessarily know. But it kind of, if you win these awards as a business, people kind of give you that extra level of like respect or something. That's not really the word, but yeah, people
it's like
know.
having a TripAdvisor star.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing. Yeah.
And you know that you it's more trust in your company. There's way more trust in it, and your couples. For us, it's our couples, our customers, can see that you are good at this.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're good at it, but also the people in your industry know that you're good at this. So if you're getting that validation from people that know your skill inside and out, then that means the world. Some competitions are very different. So Cake International is the biggest cake competition in the world. And people come from all around the world, from Asia, from America, from Canada, and they fly over and they bring cakes on the plane. Some people are sponsored by companies to enter. So they're competition bakers who are just making cakes for competitions for a living, whereas I make cakes for customers, so I'm a commercial baker. So to go up against them and win is brilliant.
Yeah.
But when you've got thousands of people entering the competition, for me, I don't go there, and this is what I said, my mum Alison works in the shop as well. She entered and she got a bronze award in her category too. But when she was making it, and it was the night before we're supposed to go, and she didn't sleep, and she's still working on it. And I'm saying it's not about winning the competition; it's about pushing yourself to do something and to learn more, and also get the feedback from judges who are experts in your industry. Is so important for you to improve. And yeah, in real life, a customer probably isn't going to want me to spend 100 hours making one tiny bit of their cake, because they're not going to want to pay me for 100 hours of making one tiny bit of their cake. But if I'm doing that and perfecting a skill that the judges can then see, and then I get their feedback on that, I can scale that down to the end product. And so you kind of increase your skills that way. And if you're entering other competitions where perhaps you had to write about yourself, or there's lots of business competitions out there for small businesses every year, and in every industry or high street shop, and when you're writing entries for those, you really have to think about your business, and you have to think about what you do and how you interact with your customers, and it really pushes your business forward, because you kind of sometimes you get carried away in the day-to-day, whether you're running a shop or you're making cake or whatever it is you're doing. Day-to-day life always comes first. You've got to make your product, you've got to sell your product, you've got to pay the bills, you've got to pay the wages and everything like that. But giving you that chance to sit back and look over your business and write, actually, yeah, I did achieve this, but I would like to do this, and this is the bits that my customers like, and this is the bits that I could improve on. And you're entering these awards. It's brilliant when you win, absolutely amazing, and people can see that you win, and people really appreciate it and it looks great on social media, but the main thing you gain from it is you've stopped and reflected on your business and you know how to improve it because you've taken that 5 minutes out of your day-to-day craziness to really think about it. And it's important not necessarily for winning awards, but for going through the process of it all.
Yeah, I've personally won awards for myself as my businesses as well, and if I recall, the most meaningful ones is the one when I didn't try to win it.
Yeah.
I belonged to a community, and we just had these award ceremonies every year. Or when I was in corporate, we knew that there was going to be an award ceremony in April or something like that. But it was day to day doing your job well, and here's a target, let's beat it. That. And then the most meaningful ones came as a surprise. When you're just having your drinks and you're just like talking to people. Yeah, people are announcing awards on stage. You're not expecting anything, and suddenly your name gets called out. You're like, what did I do? But then you realize what you did do day in, day out for 365 days was really what mattered.
Definitely.
Exactly. Wow. How did your team receive it? So was that your own baking, or were you allowed to have the help of your team?
So with Cake International, it has to be your own work.
Thing. Okay.
And so because there are literally hundreds of people from around the world entering, it doesn't have to be real cake. So we use polystyrene that we carve into the shape of cakes. Because quite frankly, there's a lot of wasted cake otherwise, and a lot of people are chucking things out.
And it's the decoration. One of the categories was decoration, wasn't it?
So there's one category where you use real cake, and all the other ones are you're allowed to use fake cakes, and you're judged on the decoration, and you're judged on the overall concept of your design, how well it goes together, your skills and your techniques, and the originality as well. I mean, they're seeing thousands of cakes and they want something that stands out. And so I entered the decorative exhibit category, and I entered the wedding cake of 3 or more tiers category. I've entered in previous years, and I've always done the decorative one, and it kind of I kept putting off the wedding one because I make weddings day to day, and also it's the notoriously the toughest category because most people that make cake for money make wedding cakes, so they're very harsh on the judging on those, and so to come out winning best in category for both of those is amazing. So I'd made them, and then my mum was also in the wedding category and she won a bronze, so they're kind of judged. They're almost graded like you would the Chelsea Flower Show or your A levels or something like that. So you come within grade boundaries, and there's gold, silvers, bronzes, merits. You can get disqualified if you don't meet the rules. And then out of each category, they choose a best in class. So
excellent.
Yeah, so there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of hard work, but it meant I got to make something that was completely different to what I would do normally. And really play with it and have some fun.
If you love the wedding category so much, I wonder if you just naturally love those kinds of challenges. Like, don't give me a medium-sized challenge. Just give me that extra super challenge.
Definitely.
Is that how you are?
Yeah, I mean, that's the amazing thing about my job is I get to do something completely different every single day. I could be making a drip cake one day and I could be carving someone's dog out of cake the next. And you get to do stuff that just seems random. And like you could go to work in an office and do the same thing day in, day out. Or you could go to work like I do and what is it today? Here's a chocolate cake. This cake is going to look like a skyscraper. And this wedding's got all these flowers on it. And you're constantly flitting between these different things. And it is really good fun. And then when it comes to the competition, and I'm not making cakes for anyone in particular, it means that I get to make something that is just whatever craziness is in my brain at that moment in time.
It's a creative expression.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's so cool. And congratulations for all your achievements.
Thank you so much.
I think what I got from this talk is basically like the whole mentality about when we go in and it's not about the winning part, it's about the getting feedback. And I can understand it. You're the boss of your own company. You even boss your mom around, which is amazing, right? It's like we need to know a whole new other show for that, how to manage up. But jokes aside, you don't get a lot of feedback because you are the head of everything. And by allowing yourself to go into competition, that's when you get your feedback as a leader and business owner and a master cake maker. So
Definitely.
it's amazing. How do people get in touch? If somebody's got a celebration or a wedding, how do people get in touch with you?
So we've got Instagram and Facebook pages. Our website has a contact form and loads of information on what we do and how the whole process works. And we've got shop. People can walk in, they can phone us up, they can drop us an email. And we always kind of start with the generic questions of what we need to know to make a cake, how many people it needs to feed, and what sort of ideas you have. Some people honestly won't have any, and some people are like, if it's a birthday cake, they'll be like, oh, I really love paddleboarding and dogs and cricket and all these things that you're trying to think, okay, rein it in a bit. We can't fit all of this on
paddleboard, a dog on it.
Yeah, I want paddleboard, a dog, cricket, I want fire, and it only needs to feed
stick.
2 people, and you're like, okay.
Skinny dog.
Yeah, exactly. But we make it right, and that's my job as a cake artist. Is I have to design it and I have to make it work and I have to make it look good, because I could put all of these things on one cake and it'll look awful, but I could come up with a design that works and brings all the important bits together. It is my job to find out the important bits, so people can get in touch. They can find us on Instagram and see what we do and see if there's anything that they like, and we'll just kind of make something unique from them, whether it's a small birthday cake or the biggest wedding cake in the world.
Oh, that's so cool. And do you only do bespoke cakes, or can they just pick up a cake or order a standard?
So we sell cupcakes day to day, cupcakes and brownies. So when we're open, then you can pop in and buy them over the counter, 1 or 2, or a box of 6, box of 12, however many. And then we have some set design celebration cakes that we can kind of fit in at later, like at shorter notice. But it is cake, so we need a bit of heads up so that we can so that we can make them. We can't just pull birthday cakes out of the air, and if someone comes in and said, can I have a birthday cake today, the answer is probably going to be no. But if they said next week, then we might better put it in.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks so
And I wish you the best for you and your team and your mom as well, if she's still entering competitions and stuff. And they're just in Bradford on Avon, guys, so please support this local business and meet David in person. I would expect you're in the shop.
I'm in there
people.
making a mess. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be back with more Brave Business Conversations after this.
This is Radio Bath.